Synths that I've had and used. What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on this YouTube Thursday, where I'll be talking about synths that I've used and what I use today. But before we get into things, what I need you to do is to give us some of that SLC. Subscribe, like, comment, and most importantly, hit the notifications bell so you can stay in touch with the new videos that we have coming to the channel. So first and foremost, let's talk about the synths that I've used previously. It wasn't much back in the day when I first started my production journey in the 90s. I would borrow my dad's Yamaha DX7, and he was lucky enough to have, I think, about 2 cartridges worth of sounds. Really cool piece of kit. Used a lot on the Miami Vice soundtrack album by Jan Hammer, and a number of 80s based pop songs and productions. I really loved the 5th string setting on it. Really dope piece of kit. The sounds were quite rich, but really reflected the 80s, and they also had a solid bass sound that Ted Riley used for the New Jack Swing movement. The other synthesizer I used was a rackable by Korg called the MS-2000R. I love the vocoder specifically on this synthesizer. I'm thinking about getting it back actually, because it's only about $300 to $350 US on the market today. At the time it was about 2,000 bucks Canadian roughly, but the vocoder on that was absolutely amazing. And I also used a couple of sound effects on one of my earlier records, a record called Rise on Stickman Records. So you can customize the sounds, you'd save them fully in total recall that you get off the synthesizer, so it was a great one. And in my hip-hop production days, I used the ASR 10 by Ensoniq. I still have it today, but unfortunately the audio is shot. I need to get that repaired, but great piece of kit. Lots of rich analog sounds, and things are all pretty much down the middle in terms of being mono sounds. You could split them in the stereo and it would take up other channels, but I loved the way how it would handle samples in particular. When you normalize the sound on that and chop up sounds on it, it was just full, really thick. A lot of great albums were made using the ASR 10, everything from Wu-Tang Clan's earlier works by the RZA, Tribe Called Quest's Low End Theory. Let's move on to the synths that I use today.
The following is an MTV Cribs special presentation.
Alright, so these are the synths that I use today. The first one we got here, I made this purchase about a year and a half ago, is the Arturia Matrix Brute. I love this thing. I've used this on a lot of different records. High, Live, and Dirty is one of them. Definitely To Be a Star that I used in collaboration with Phil Weeks. I love this keyboard for its various bass sounds. It's always pretty rich and thick. Like, there's a nice little bass sound we got here. Cut off is masterful. And we have a number of filters where we can customize the sounds and make them, fit into the specific track that I'm working on. It's a really dope machine, and because of the analog components, it's usually the first thing I turn on, because depending on how cold it is, believe it or not, it is slightly out of tune. There is a way where you can hit a couple of keys and it magically comes into tune, but I rather just leave it on and get warmer and sound richer as the day goes on. So that's the Arturia Matrix Brute. Over here we have the Roland System 8. It's another great piece of kit. Let me just plug this into my patch bay. Really nice keyboard. It comes loaded with the preset of System 8 sounds. So this is a preset System 8 sound. I use this a lot on the From Black to Technicolor EP I did on Music for Freaks Part 2. Really good piece of kit. It also has a plugin of the Jupiter. Really rich sounding, and then it's also got the Juno 106 in here. So again, rich sort of sounds in here. Lots of great retro Roland sounds too. I haven't done a comparison to the original Jupiter 8 or Juno. I just like it for how it sounds, and quite frankly, it runs right through my Apollo 8 sound card. So if I need to even fatten it up even more, I load up some specific preamps. The UAD 610 preamps work just superiorly well. Superiorly, that's even a word. Okay, next up is the Arturia Micro Freak. This is a great piece of kit for under, 500 Canadian dollars. I love this thing because you can get right into the sounds and edit them. It's quite intuitive. I love the slide, the pitch bend here. It's all touch sensitive and ready to go. I've used this on a number of different records already. The one coming is on, I believe, on Darius Sarosian's Moxie Music. Track is called Soul Music. Really dope piece of kit here. I use this a lot for sequence sounds. You can do some arpeggiating and other various things that sync up nicely with your DAW through the USB and MIDI. I just love the thing. Bass sounds are great, and there's just a lot to get into. The touch sensitivity takes a little while to get used to, but it's a really good piece of kit. I highly recommend. Now let's move over to the Arturia Matrix Brute. I think I got this on 12, yeah. So this guy, it's one of the first pieces of new outboard gear that I got when I realized I just wanted an edge that had some analog components to it, and this is a really great analog synth. It's small, but it's mighty. I use this bass sound on here that I've set up on my own for a lot of remixes. The most recent one would be for Junior Sanchez's Come Back to Me on Elro. So that bass should sound familiar. But the key to it is I have it running through an Art mic preamp. Can't really see it. I don't know if you can get that. But I have it running through that preamp. It's a 2 preamp. It's also analog itself. And that's what adds the fatness to this particular sound. I mean, there's a number of other things you can do, but I use this mainly for bass textures. And the theme here, a lot of these are mono synths. So this Moog, the subsequent 37, great purchase. I love this thing because I use it for bass sounds. It's also got a nice set of lead sounds you can edit. And then once you do the MIDI with it, you can record all of these knobs and automate them into Logic or Ableton that I'm slowly just starting to get into. And I have nothing bad to say about this. I've used this on several projects as of late, and everything from sound effects to bass sounds, arpeggios you can do on it as well. Really dope piece of kit. And last but not least is our Behringer DeepMind 12. Switch spots with you. So I picked this up quite a while ago. This is a very light sound, but I use this on, again, from Black to Technicolor Part 2 EP. I think, what's the track called? Party. The bass synth is off of this. Really dope piece of kit. I trigger it off of the System 8, and again, it's one of the first things I turn on because it's analog, so the longer it stays on, the warmer it gets. The sound is super, super dope, and it's not waste like Wano. There you have it. Thanks for joining us on this YouTube Thursday. The synths that I've used and what I'm using today. I hope you got some value out of these videos. And again, remember that SLC, subscribe, like, and comment. And most importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the videos we got coming. Much love and respect. Peace.